Thank you for joining this lesson. We're going to discuss mathematics paper 1. This time around section 2. We've done enough of section 1, but we shall continue predicting the examinations of 2024. So welcome to the lesson. You can invite a friend by clicking the share button. Remember to subscribe. Remember to like. Remember to give a comment as you continue following up. So I will scroll down to the section 2 of this paper. We have gone through all these questions in section 1. If you did not follow up, kindly use the same platform to access these good questions together with their solutions. For those who would like to contact us or to reach out for any reason, please feel free to use the number which is on the paper. My phone number, which is used for WhatsApp and also for M-Pesa, is attached on the screen, just as you can see it. So here is the number. Feel free to access. Yeah, so the questions are here. Number 17, which is our first question in the section 2. We are told basically the instructions are that we answer any 5 questions in this section. But from this side, I'm going to guide you through all the questions. So it will be now upon the learner to select the best questions according to their preferences, according to their abilities. Some of the questions will be tougher for one individual, but they be favorable for another one. So please ensure that you make the best selection according to yourself. Number 17, given that x minus y equals to 3 and 3x plus y equals to 7, find without solving for x and y, Roman 1, x squared minus 2xy plus y squared. What is the value of this expression? So what we do is to ensure that we have factorized. This is an expanded expression, so we factorize it. It's quadratic in nature, so we need to factorize quadratically. So we need a product equal to a times c. 1 times 1, that is 1, and a sum equivalent to the value at b, which is negative 2. Therefore, the two factors, when multiplied, they give us positive 1, and when added, they give us negative 2, are negative 1 and negative 1. And so we shall split negative 2xy into negative 1 and negative 1. This will take us to x squared minus xy minus xy again. So instead of negative 2, we have negative xy, then plus y squared. In the first two terms, we factor out x, so that we remain with x plus y minus y, x minus y. Then in the other two, we factor out y, negative, so that we remain with x minus y. So now we can take down the factorized, which is negative y plus x again minus y. That is the expression. Now that we have factorized, we get back to what has been provided now, given that x minus y is equivalent to 3. Do you know that most simplified will be now x minus y squared, which is not a must. But now working out this, it means the value of this one has been given as 3. So now we're just going to square 3, and we're going to get 9. So that is the answer in the first case, because we've been told x minus y equals to 3, and after factorizing, we are getting x minus y squared. Let's see what we will get in Roman 2. 9x squared plus 6y plus y squared. We factorize again. product of A times C, 9 times 1, product of 9, and a sum of the value at B, which is positive 6. The two factors are 3 and 3. When multiplied, they will give us 9. When added, they will give us positive 6. So with this now, we can factorize 9x squared plus, instead of 6 now, 3xy plus 3xy, that is instead of 6xy, then plus y squared. At this point now, in the first two, we factor out 3x to remain with in brackets 3x, then plus y. We add y is common, so we remain with 3x in brackets in the last two, plus y. So that now, when we list down now the factorized form, we will have 3x plus y, that is the common factor. And also outside the brackets, we are having 3x plus y. This is to mean we are simply having 3x plus y squared, because the same root or the same factor is appearing twice. So it's 3x plus y squared. The value of 3x plus y has been given up there. 3x plus y is equivalent to 7. And so this is 7 squared, giving us exactly 49. Exactly 49. So that is how we work out that part. Roman 3, 3x squared minus 2xy minus y squared. Again, we have to factorize. We need a product equivalent to A times C. So 3 by negative 1, we get negative 3. And a sum equivalent to the value at B, which is negative 2. So the two factors, when multiplied, negative 3, and when added, negative 2, are negative 3 and positive 1. This being the two, now we have to express, instead of negative 2, we have negative 3xy, then positive xy. That is the equivalence of negative 2 minus y squared. In the first two, we factor out 3x to remain with x minus y. In the last two terms, we factor out y, so that we remain with x minus y. And now, writing the simplified format, we will have from the brackets x minus y, and outside the brackets 3x plus y. Now, solving the value of this, we've been told that x minus y is equivalent to 3, and 3x plus y is equivalent to 7. Therefore, we are just getting the product of 3 and 7, giving us exactly 21. So the answer there is 21. There is part B, which is a word problem. We are instructed that the total age of a group of parents is 342 years. A new parent, aged 48, joins the group and the average raises by 1. Find the original number of parents given that they were more than 30. This is a very critical statement, given that they were more than 30. Okay, let's come up with an analysis of the information given here. The total age of a group of parents is 342. So we are supposed to know that there is the average is the mean. Let this one be understood. When we say that the average of the ages It means their mean, the mean age. So original average, letting the number be, let original number of parents be X. This is to mean that original average age was equal to the total age out of the number of parents. That was the original average, and that has to be noted. Then a new parent aged 48 joins the group. A new parent. So which means there will be a new average now. A new average. Sorry. The new average is going to be, now the total age will be 342 plus the incoming parent now is having 48 years of age. Then the new number of parents now is X plus 1. X plus 1. That is the new average. Now we can form an equation having the awareness that the average raises by 1. The average raises by 1. So this new average, which is a 342 plus 48, that gives us 390. Yeah, 390 out of X plus 1. That is the average. When we subtract the original average of 342 out of X, we're going to get 1. So the average has increased by 1, which means new average minus the original average is giving us a difference of 1. This is now the equation that we're going to solve for us to get X, which is the original number of parents, over 1, of course. So we have to work with the LCM. When I work with the LCM, which is X into X plus 1, then I'm going to divide LCM with the first denominator. I will get X. So 390 times X, then minus 342 multiplied by, I take the LCM divided by the denominator, then I will have X plus 1 remaining, and this is equivalent to 1 multiplied by LCM divided by 1. It remains the way it is. So this is going to be X squared plus X. Now that it is an equation, we are done with LCM. We can now expand and group like terms. So 390 X minus 342 X minus again 342. This is equivalent to X squared plus X. X squared plus X. So now I have to rearrange this equation for it to become quadratic. For me to rearrange it, I have to start with X squared, just from where X is. Then now I have to have 390 becoming negative, but 342 becomes positive. So I will be having X, the original X that we are having there, minus 390X, but positive 342X. Then 342, which is negative, to that side becomes positive. Positive 342. So that I remain with completely 0. on one side. So I've taken all the terms to one side. X squared plus x, then 390 becomes negative, negative 342 becomes positive, and again negative 342 also becomes positive. So now I will have x squared minus 47 x plus 342. This is equivalent to 0. So now we have to work with 9 and 38. So that we factorize. Product is going to be 1 minus 3, 1 times 342, and sum is going to be negative 47. So when we use 9, negative, and negative 38, the two added will give us negative 47. The two multiplied will give us positive 342. So we can now use factorization method to solve the quadratic equation, whereby we shall have x squared minus 9x minus 38 x positive 342 equals a 0. In the first two, x should be factored out to remain with x minus 9. In the next two, we factor out 38. So that will remain with x minus 9. Again, this is equivalent to 0. Now we can pick the first common factor, x minus 9. Then outside the brackets, we are having x minus 38. This is equivalent to 0. The first value of x is positive 9. The next value of x is equivalent to 38. These are positive answers, and they are possible values of the number of people, because none of them is negative. But the examiner is very specific. We are given a disclaimer that the number of people, the number of parents were more than 30. So if they were more than 30, then we shall settle at the value which is greater than 30. That is 38 parents. So the original number of parents was 38, and that is how we find the value of x. We're going to start number 18, which is a question on matrices together with equations. As we continue learning, I think it's good I remind people of our holiday programs. I encourage students to register their students, register your siblings, register your own children for this platform. Google Class meetings, whereby we shall have Form 1 revising Form 1 work and getting introduced to Form 2 work. Then Form 2 students will revise Form 2 work, Form 1 work, and they will get an introduction to Form 3 work. Form 3 students are going to revise all the lower forms work together with Form 3's work, and I will be introducing the Form 3's to Form 4 work. That is why the timetable is cutting across from Form 1 to Form 4, but we will not be having Form 1s in 2025, and currently we are not having Form 4s. It is because the work for Form 1 is very critical, even if we will not have Form 1. So I'll be taking people through Form 1 content. And I want to invite you all to register through the number provided, 0704 15 33 66. 0704 15 33 66. This is now the number that we shall interact with. Please make sure you follow up and register. Get to WhatsApp and I will give more details. Number 18, given that the inverse of matrix A is equivalent to 2, negative 5 over 2, negative 3, 4. Find the matrix A. So we are provided with the inverse of a matrix for us to find the matrix itself. Here, a student has to have correct knowledge, the right knowledge. A student must be having the right knowledge, because now I have to go back to Form 3 work and remind people that when we take a matrix M and we multiply with its own inverse, or simply the inverse of the matrix itself multiplied by the matrix, the order here is not an issue. We get what we call the identity matrix. This one has to be understood. A matrix multiplied by its own inverse gives us the identity matrix. So when we get the provided matrix here, 2, negative 5 over 2, then this is negative 3, 4, and we multiply with matrix A, which is a matrix of order 2 by 2. A matrix of order 2 by 2, a matrix with A, B, C, D. Now we are going to get the identity matrix, which is a matrix that is having 1, 0, 0, 1. A matrix with ones in the main diagonal and zeros elsewhere. With this matrix now, with this equation formed, we can now find the unknown matrix. Let me begin by operating the multiplication, whereby I will say this row multiplied by this column will give us the first element here, which is 1. So 2a, then negative 5 over 2c is supposed to give us 1. Again, we can use the same row with the next column. The same row with the next column here, whereby it is 2b minus 5 out of 2d to give us the next element, which is a 0 here, to give us 0. These are two equations, and we can use the other row to get other two equations. Then we see their solution. So when we use negative 3 for this second row now, the second row, negative 3a plus 4c, we're supposed to get the element down here, which is 0. Negative 3b plus 4, the value of d, we're supposed to get the last element here, which is 1. So we are having 4 equations, but we can group them depending on what they contain. The first two equations, the first two means the equation here and the equation here, they are going to be formed, they're going to be solved together to give us the value of A and C, to give us the value of A and C. I know there might be shorter methods of working out this one, but let me use this option kindly. So from equation 1, we can say this, that 2a is equivalent to 5 out of 2c, then plus 1. Yeah, 5 out of 2c plus 1. So to remain with the value of a, I have to divide everything by 2. This becomes 5 over 4 c plus half. 5 over 4c plus half. So I substitute it in equation 2 now. So equation 2 can be rewritten as negative 3. Instead of a, I write 5 over 4c plus half, then plus 4c equals to 0. plus 4c equals to 0. So at this point now, I can have negative 15 out of 4, the value of c, minus again 3 over 2 plus 4c. This is equivalent to 0. When I group like terms, I'll be having a 3 over 2 being positive. Yeah, 3 over 2 being positive. But now, on the right-hand side, I have to take the value of negative 15 over 4, then then positive 4. And this gives us a quarter. So a quarter c. A quarter c equals to 3 out of 2, which means the value of c will be, when we multiply through by 4, and c becomes 3 over 2 by 4, giving us 6. If the value of c is 6, then the value of a can be found now very quickly by taking 5 over 4, then c is 6 plus half. This is going to be 5 over 4 by 6 gives us by 2, and by 2, 3. So 15 over 2, which is 7.5, plus half, giving us exactly 8. So the value of A and C have been found. I will use the other 2. Yeah, I'm going to use the other 2 for me, the other 2 equations for me to get the value of D and B, for me to get the value of D and B. So I'm having a 2b minus 5 over 2d equals to 0. And from there, which is negative 3b plus 4d equals to a quarter. So we can, from this equation, that 4d from equation 3, not 3 but 4, 3 is this one. So from equation 4, then 4d equals to 3b, which can simplify further to give us the value of b. Or let me give the value of, yeah, for the equation to be solved with a lot of ease, let me express the value of d and say d is equivalent to 3 over 4 the value of b. Now with the value of d expressed from equation 4, I can re-express equation 3, which is 2b minus 5 out of 2. Instead of d, we write 3/4 of b. This is equivalent to 0. And at this point now, yeah, there's something we are leaving out. There was a 1 there, sorry. So let me be very careful in that interpretation. Sorry, but we are arresting that issue now. And actually, instead of using the longer equation, let me say from equation 3, the value of 2b equals to 5 over 2d, which can simplify to give us the value of b becoming 5 over 4d when you divide through by 2. Then now we can rewrite equation 4 now, whereby negative 3, and instead of b, we write 5 over 4d, then plus 4d equivalent to positive 1. Equivalent to positive 1 means now negative 9 out of 4, negative 15, sorry. Negative 15 over 4D plus 4D is equivalent to 1. And that said, now we can group and say this is a quarter D equals to 1. And so the value of D is equal to, the value of D is equal to 4. The value of D being 4 means that the value of B will be given as 5 over 4, the value of D according to this expression. So this is going to give us exactly 5. With all this, now we can say matrix A, whose inverse had been provided, equals to AB giving us a 8, 5, then CD giving us 6, positive 4. So this is the matrix whose inverse had been provided. That is the matrix A. Part B, a student bought 16 exercise books and 10 pens at a total cost of 1018. At a total cost of 1018 Kenya shillings. If she had bought 12 exercise books and 8 pens, she would have spent 242 Kenya shillings less. Form a matrix equation to represent the information above. Before the matrix equation, allow me come up with a linear equation or linear equations. So 16 exercise books, we can let each exercise book to be sold at X plus 10 pence each sold at Y to give a total of 1018. And again, if she had bought 12 exercise books each at X plus 8 pence each at Y, she would have spent 242 less, which means she would have spent 776. 776. Now, equation 1 can simplify to, when we divide by 2, this will be 8x plus 5y. Divide by 2 gives us 509. That is equation 1. Equation 2 becomes, when you divide by 2, 6x plus 4y, equivalent to 388. 388. Now, with these two equations, which are linear, we can form a matrix equation whereby we extract the coefficients, and that will give us the coefficients matrix. So the coefficients are 8, 5, 6, 4. That is the coefficients matrix. Then we have the variables matrix X, Y, which is a column matrix. This is equivalent to the constants matrix 509, 3, 8, 8. Now, at this point, we are already having our matrix equation and something to conclude. Interestingly, the constants, the coefficients matrix is the matrix A that we were finding in the previous step, that is in part A. That is why we are being told in Roman 2, using the inverse of A in part A above, determine the price of each item. Determine the price of each item. This means we pre-multiply both sides of the matrix equation with the inverse of the coefficients matrix, which is already known. The matrix is already known to be 2, -3, -5 over 2, 4. 2, -3, -5 over 2, 4. That is the inverse of matrix A, which is 8, 5, 6, 4. XY equivalent to, we begin again with the 2, negative 5 over 2, and this is negative 3, 4 times 509, 388. Yeah. Automatically, when a matrix is multiplied with its inverse, we are supposed to get the identity matrix. So the product here is 1, 0, 0, 1 multiplied by xy. And this is equivalent to, when you multiply now, the right hand side, it will be row times column. So this row multiplied by the column to get the first element. So 2 by 509, negative 5 over 2 by 388, and you add, that will give us exactly 48. Then we multiply again this row times the same column. So negative 3 by 509, 4 by 388, and that gives us exactly 25. Now, something that we're supposed to conclude is that when a matrix is multiplied by the identity matrix is 1, 0, 0, 1, the matrix remains the way it is. In other words, this is the value of a matrix whose value is equivalent to 1. Because we multiplied a matrix by its own inverse. You know, it's like multiplying a number and its own reciprocal. We get a value equal to 1. So identity matrix has a value equivalent to 1. And so the variables matrix now remains. And this can lead us to conclude that X is equivalent to 48 and Y is equivalent to 25. This is the price of one exercise book. Exercise book, sorry. The value of an exercise book. And the other one is the value of what? She was buying exercise books and pens. So Y was the price of 1 pen. The price of each item has now been determined. Part C, the last. Find the total cost of 4 books and 5 pens. Find the total cost of 4 books and 5 pens by using matrices of orders 1 by 2 and 2 by 1 respectively. So we are supposed to tell ourselves that we need to get the prices of 4 books and 5 pens. That is a matrix of order 1 by 2, 1 row and 2 columns. Then we multiply it with the prices, the respective prices. One is costing 48, the other one 25. 48, 25. We multiply by what we call a row matrix. A column matrix, 2 rows, but 1 column. The first one is a row matrix, 1 row, but 2 columns. So now when you multiply this one, this is a matrix of, this is the one we are calling 1 by 2, the order. And this one is what we are calling 2 by 1 order. So when you multiply at this point, you're supposed to take 4 by 48 plus 5 by 25. And this will give us exactly 317. 317 is the total price of total cost of 4 books and 5 pens. We are continuing number 9. This is on differentiation. The question says that a particle moves along a straight line such that its displacement from a given point is given by s equals to t power 3 minus 3t squared plus 3t, where t is the time in seconds. Find part A, the displacement of the particle at t equals to 3 seconds. Part B, the velocity of the particle when t equals to 3 seconds. And part C, the value of t when the particle is momentarily at rest. Then finally, the acceleration of the particle when the value of t is equivalent to 4. Allow me bring to you the most convenient way of purchasing airtime as a way of supporting shifting grades programs. Kindly go to your M-Pesa menu, the Lipa na M-Pesa, then use the pay bill 737356. After entering the pay bill, go to the account number, which is equal to the number that you intend to purchase airtime for. Be it Safaricom, be it Airtel, be it Telcom, you are going to receive your airtime instantly. Now you proceed, whereby you will be entering the amount that you'd like to spend. Then you complete the transaction and airtime reflects instantly. Remember our programs for the holiday. We're going to recruit students to start our lessons on Google Meet between the 11th of November to the 11th of December 2024. Learners are going to have interactive sessions, and it shall be very great. Kindly reach out to us and enroll your student. Success greetings to the 2024 candidates. Thank you for following up. Continue working with us. It shall be well with you. We continue now with the differentiation question, number 19. A particle moves along a straight line such that its displacement is given by the function you see there. The first thing is to find displacement at a point where t is equal to 3 seconds. Therefore, we should tell ourselves that displacement is given by t power 3. So 3 power 3 minus 3 t squared plus 3, the value of t, which is 3. And this will give us exactly 9 meters. 9 meters. Part B, the velocity of the particle when t equals to 3. For us to get the velocity function, we have to differentiate displacement with respect to time. We have to differentiate displacement s with respect to time. And when we differentiate this function, we're going to get, we drop the power of 3 times t, and the power reduces by 1, it becomes t squared. Then we drop 2, that becomes negative 3 by 2, 6 t. The power which was to power 2 now becomes 1, then plus 3, and t disappears. T disappears because during differentiation, remember t at this part, t is to power 1. So we are dropping 1 to multiply by 3, making it a 3, and the power of t reduces by 1. Because it was t power 1, now it becomes t power 0. And anything power 0, anything raised to power 0 is 1. So it's like now we are multiplying 3 by 1, making it 3. Now, the value of velocity is going to be, the value of the velocity is going to be, we shall talk of now, the velocity itself now being 3. T is 3 squared minus 6 into 3, then plus 3. Yeah. So this is going to be, when you compute, you get 12 meters per second. 12 meters per second. So that is the value. That is the value of velocity when t equals to 3 meters. We continue with part C. The value of t when the particle is momentarily at rest. Momentarily at rest means these are the times when the velocity is equal to 0. So when the velocity equals to 0, we equate the function to 0. the velocity function. 3t squared minus 6t plus 0 plus 3 equals to 0. So this is the velocity function equated to 0 for us to know the values of t when the velocity is equivalent to 0. We can solve using the factorization method, a product of 9 and a sum of -6. This means -3, -3, product +9, sum -6. So 3t squared minus 3t minus again 3t, then plus 3 is equivalent to 0. If that is equal to 0, then it means from the first two, we can factor out 3t. Then we remain with 1 minus, we remain with t minus 1. Yeah, then minus again 3, so that we remain with t minus 1 equivalent to 0. So the value of t minus 1, that is from the brackets, and outside the brackets, we pick 3t minus 3 equivalent to 0. So from the first factor, t minus 1 equals to 0, and also the value of 3t minus 3 can also be equal to 0. Can also be equal to 0. So from the first factor, the value of t is 1. Or from the next, the value of t is also equal to 1. And that is why they are asking for the value of t when the particle is momentarily at rest. They are actually saying the value of t, which means even if we are solving a quadratic equation, it can already be predetermined that the value will be 1. So this is called a perfect square, whereby after you solve, you just get one root. It's quadratic, yes, but you are getting one root of t. Part D, we are determining the acceleration of the particle when t equals to 4. For us to get acceleration, we need to differentiate velocity with respect to time. And for us to differentiate velocity, now we go to the velocity function, which is here. So we're going to, it's here. We drop power 2. So that 3 multiplies by 2. That gives us 6t power 1. It was power 2. Now it becomes power 1. -6t, when you differentiate, you drop 1 to get -6. But now the value of t will become 1. So this is the acceleration function. Now we need the value itself now, the value of the acceleration when t equals to 4. And this is going to give us 18 meters per second squared, being acceleration meters squared. So that is the value acceleration. The reason as to why we are differentiating from velocity for us to get acceleration. Remember, differentiation is the process of getting gradient function. In case we plot displacement against time, the slope will give us what we call velocity. The slope of this graph will give us velocity. And that is why when given a displacement time function, we have to differentiate it. That is, we find the gradient function so that it gives us velocity function, because from such a relationship, the gradient gives velocity. So we get gradient function, which is obtained by differentiation. Again, given a velocity time function, we know that from this gradient, we're supposed to get acceleration. if we get acceleration, then it means given velocity time function, we have to differentiate it. That is, we have to get its gradient function for us to get acceleration function. That is from linear motion form 2 mathematics. Number 20, a very interesting questions on statistics. We are told that the table below shows distribution of ages of 60 adults who attended clinic. 60 adults. So the ages are given in brackets, in ages, in classes, sorry, as you can see them. Then we have the cumulative frequency. This is the CF provided. If the cumulative frequency has been provided, then we can state the median class, not the model class this time around, the median class, which means we have to get the total frequency of 60 adults. 60 adults. Then we divide by 2 because median means the middle value. So 60 over 2 gives us 30. So we want to see the class that contains the 30th adult. That class will become our median class. Therefore, from the cumulative frequencies, this is 3, this is 10, this is 22, this is 35. Therefore, the 30th adult is contained now in this particular class, because in the previous ones, we are just at a maximum of 22, which means the 30th is contained in the class 36 to 40. The class 36 to 40. This becomes our median class, the class that contains the age of the middle adult, the class that contains the class that contains the age of the middle adult. From your comments, I really appreciate. Kennedy Odiampo, good morning to you. Thank you so much. Mathematics Economics is also sending greetings, and thank you so much. Then thank you, teacher. Our mind is fresh now. We can capture more things. Thank you so much. So most of our live stream lessons are going to happen in the early mornings so that people may grasp the best. Yeah. On Tuesday morning, that is what we shall do. Thank you so much for the idea. Even tomorrow morning, I'll be presenting something else. At this point now, we can proceed. Allow me proceed now. Yeah, allow me proceed. I'm going to identify now respective frequencies. Remember, cumulative frequencies is when all the frequencies have been added up. So we can come up now with a column for frequencies. A column for frequencies. A column of F. Very important. Very, very important. So that we may calculate mean. We cannot calculate mean when we don't know the frequencies. So the first frequency, as you can see, will have a value of 3, but now it is added to the next one to give 10, which means the other one is 7. Again, 10 has been added to the next one to give us 12, 22, which means the other one was at 12. 22 has been added to another frequency to give us 35, which means that other frequency is 13. 35 has been added to another frequency to give us 45, which means that other frequency is 10. 45 has been added to another frequency to give us 53, which means that other frequency is equivalent to 8. 53 has been added to a frequency to give us 57, and that means it was having a value equivalent to 4. Then from 57, we are going to 59. that means we are adding only 2. And finally, from 59 to 60, it means we have added only 1. So these are now the respective frequencies of the class. It's a bit new and unique setting, and a learner has to be very careful for them to get the marks from such a class. So the other thing now is to calculate our mean. For me to get mean, allow me to extract a column of all the midpoints multiplied by the respective frequencies. Yeah, then we'll go to the mean formula. So I will start with midpoint, then midpoints times the frequency of the particular class. The first midpoint is 21 plus 25 over 2, giving us 23. 23 will be multiplied by 3 to give us 69. 26 plus 30 divided by 2 will give us a 28 as the other midpoint. 28 multiplies the respective frequency of 7, and that gives us 196. We have the next midpoint as 31 plus 35 over 2, giving us 33. Now 33 multiplies the respective frequency of 12 to give us 396. To give us 396. We proceed to the next midpoint, 36 plus 40 divided by 2, giving us 38. Now, 38 multiplies the corresponding frequency of 13, and that gives us 394. 394. The next is going to be 41 plus 45. Yeah, 41 plus 45, giving us 43 times 10. Times 10, giving us 430. Then after that, we can go to 46 plus 50 over 2, giving us 48 by 8. A midpoint of 48 and a frequency of 8. That will give us 384. 384. Again, we can talk of 55 plus 51 over 2, giving us 53 by 4. 53 by a frequency of 4 will give us 212. Yeah, 212. Then we are having again 56 plus 60 divided by 2, giving us 58. 58 times the corresponding frequency of 2. That will give us 116. And the last midpoint is going to be when we take 61. This is 61, sorry, the data is discrete. 61 to 65 over 2, giving us 63. 63 by a frequency of 1 remains 63. Then now with all the fx, we can get the sum of fx. When we add them up, we shall get 2260. When we add all the values of f by x, we get 2260. Then now mean is usually given by the summation of f of x divided by the sum of f. So this shall be 2260 out of a total frequency of 60. And this to, okay, the accurate mean, the exact mean is 37 and 2 over 3. This one is the exact mean. But now to an accuracy of 4 significant figures, it shall be 37.667 or 67. This is to 4SF. But it's good to know that the exact mean, instead we'll be, in case we've been asked the exact mean, it shall be 37 and 2 thirds. Now there is a frequency polygon which has been plotted here. The figure below shows a frequency polygon. A frequency polygon of edges within a certain family. It's good to remember that in section 1, we handled a question on statistics. This is section 2, whereby we are also handling statistics. So this is a very critical topic which has appeared in this given post-mock. It will also appear in your Kcse, most likely. So please don't take chances. Equip yourself with statistics. There are the statistical graphs, like this is the frequency polygon. We have the histograms. In Form 4, there is the ogive. Don't stay around and there are graphical questions on statistics that you cannot respond to. For example, we've been given now, again, a unique setting whereby we are going to generate the frequency distribution table of the data above. The data has already been represented for us. It is on a graph, a frequency polygon. It is us now to extract the data. In normal occasions, you'll be given the data for you to plot a frequency. The data will be given, or the frequency distribution table will be given for you to plot the frequency polygon. Now we have the frequency polygon for us to express the data. And this is something which is doable. Something doable. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share this lesson with a friend. Remember to invite a friend. Remember, we are growing, we are advancing, and it's not good for you to leave out your friends. Please invite them to our live broadcasts. Let's look at the distribution table now and how it will look. It's good for a student to understand a few things. One of the things is that for us to get a frequency polygon, we have plotted frequency against all midpoints. So even if these are class intervals, the plotting point is the midpoint. So we plot frequency against the midpoint for us to come up with a frequency polygon. So I'm going now to have the class and respective frequency. Class and frequency. Class, frequency, class, frequency. Yeah. Class, or simply the edges, then frequency. Frequency F. So at this point now, we can see that we have a midpoint here. A midpoint of 3. Then the class is supposed to border another one. The class is supposed to border another one. If it is supposed to border another one, it should tell you that this is also another midpoint. And that being another midpoint, then we can only say that the class is beginning from between 4 and 8. There is a 6. And between 8 and 12, there is exactly 10. So from 6 to 10, there is a class. From 6 to 10, there is a class whereby the midpoint is 8. 6 to 10. And the frequency is 3. The value plotted here is 3. So the frequency is exactly 3. Then the other class begins there immediately from 10, which means these are continuous data. From 10, through a midpoint of all the way to 14. All the way to 14. Yeah, from 10 to 14. Then what is the height which has been plotted? The midpoint which has been joined here is having a height of 2. So the frequency is 2. The frequency is 2. Then after that, we begin from 14. From 14 all the way to 18. And the midpoint is 16. So all the way to 18, there is another class with a midpoint here. The midpoint can be identified to be that point. If that one is identified as the midpoint, if that is identified at the midpoint, Then we will talk of 3 again as the frequency plotted. So from 14 to 18, there is 3 as the frequency. The other one begins exactly there from 18 all the way to between 20 and 24, which is 22. And the height there, which is our frequency, is exactly between 6 and 8, which is a 7. So all the way to 22, and the frequency is 7. So we can extract all frequencies. Let's go to the next class. The other class will begin from that point. The midpoint is here. It has been joined. The midpoint is there. That means the class is going all the way to 26. So 22 to 26. 22 to 26. And the frequency there is 4. The frequency is 4. Yeah. The frequency is 4. Then from 26 all the way to 30. From 26 all the way to 30, that is here. The midpoint which has been joined is here, a value equivalent to 1. The value is equivalent to 1. So we have all the frequencies. All the frequencies. That is how we generate. That's how we generate. You can see the number of people here by starting with 3, plus 2, 5, plus 3, 8, plus 7, 15, plus 4, 19, plus 1, 20. So there were 20 people whose ages were recorded and presented on a frequency polygon. So from a frequency polygon, we can come up with the data which had been plotted. That is how we play along such a question. Very interesting question. Remember that our consultation line remains 07 04 15 33 66 3366. Write it clearly. This is the number that we use for consultations. That is also the same number that we use for M-Pesa. You can feel free to use it. There is number 21. This is a question on transformations. Though we don't have tools suitable for use on the screen, I'm going to offer the proper guidance. I'm going to offer the proper guidance on how to go through such a question. A triangle ABC has vertices A to 1, B 32, and C 04. Part A. On the grid provided, plot the triangle ABC. Plot the triangle ABC. So A is 2, 1. 2, 1. The coordinate of A is 2, 1. That is our A. Again for B, go to 3, 2. So 3, 2. B shall be there. And C is a 04. So 04, it means that C is going to be at a point there. With these plotted coordinates, now we can have the triangle drawn. A to B, then to C. A to B, then to C. Let me do my triangle now. This is the triangle. This is the triangle according to the coordinates provided. We have the triangle now. We have the exact triangle. Now with the triangle, I can see people are really watching. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for your greetings. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, Abdishik, for your greetings. Thank you so much for being around. Please pass your greetings to us. I'm doing my success wishes to all the Form 4s. To all the Form 4s of 2024 doing the exam. I pass my success greetings to you. Thank you for being around. Thank you for being a good follower. It shall be well with you during the Kcse. Pass my regards to your friends. invite them to our powerful lessons. Remember also to invite your siblings to our very interactive sections using Google Meet. We are going to impact their lives through mathematics and physics lessons. I am sure they are going to reap a lot of benefits. Please follow up with our programs. Use the number on the screen, 0704 15 3366. Ensure you register, please. Ensure you register. On the other side, I invite you again to access airtime from our account 07. That is the pay bill number. You just go to the Lipa na M-Pesa menu, whereby the pay bill number shall be 737356. The account number being the number that you intend to purchase airtime for. Whether Airtel, Telcom, Safaricom, just enter their number is the account. Then continue by entering the amount you'd like to spend for airtime and complete your transactions. Through that, you're going to receive the airtime instantly. Please don't hesitate. Embrace our program. Invite friends and family to use the same. All right. Now we got our triangle and we have to continue. We have now to continue. We have to continue. Part B. ABC prime is the image of ABC under translation 2 negative 5. Plot the image A prime, B prime, C prime, and state its coordinates. To translate means that we're just going to move. Translating is very simple. We are moving 2 units in the X and negative 5 units in the Y. So this is how we shall translate. This is how we shall go about. Let me change my ink. 2 negative 5 is the translation vector. 2 negative 5. So we are moving 2 units in the right from where C is. If I begin with C, for example, I love 1, 2, then 5 units downwards because of negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Therefore, C prime is going to be there. If we go to B, it will be 1, 2 towards the right, then downwards 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Therefore, B prime is going to be found here. And finally, A, we move 1, 2 to the right and 4 downwards, 5 downwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Therefore, A prime shall be somewhere there. We can now connect our triangle for us to know the image A to B, then to C. A to B, then to C. Remember, they are supposed to be directly congruent. As long as there's a translation involved, we get direct congruence. Yeah. So we can see the image and the original triangle where a translation has been involved. We have also been instructed to state the coordinates. So A prime shall be, A prime is a 4, negative 4. B prime is going to be a 5, negative 3, as we can read. Then, to read, you just, when you are at B, you go to the X and you move along again the Y. So we are getting 5, negative 3. If it was A, there is 4 and negative 4. Now, when we are at C prime, we can see from C prime, this is 2 and this is negative 1. So 2, negative 1. So now we have the coordinates identified. We have the coordinates identified, and everybody has seen how we have performed the translation. Very easy to perform a translation. Let's look at the other transformation which is going to be involved here. Part Plot the second image, which is the image of the first image after about the origin. Rotation about the origin. This is the transformation. This is the center, which is the origin, through a negative quarter turn. Negative means direction. Negative quarter turn means clockwise. Then quarter turn means the angle of 90. Positive, negative 90 in other words. So 90 in the clockwise. 90 in the clockwise. So ours is to now join every coordinate to the center of rotation. Then clockwise, we move 90. Yeah, clockwise, we move 90 degrees. Clockwise, we move 90 degrees. So we can begin by joining. Let's just begin with C. We join C to the center. We join C to the center. I'm going to use a dotted line to the center. Then at the center, we measure 90 degrees. We measure 90 degrees. 90 degrees. Then we transfer that distance. We transfer that distance to the point here. Therefore, this is going to be our C double prime. We have turned through 90 at the center towards the clockwise direction. The next one is a B. So which means we join B to the center. We join B to the center. We join B to the center. Then we measure 90 again. We measure 90 and we have to move. We have to move an equal distance. We have to move an equal distance. So after measuring 90, we move an equal distance and we shall find ourselves here with the second image. So that is where B second image is going to be. And finally A. So we join A to the center and we measure 90 in the clockwise direction. A to the center. A to the center. Then we measure 90. We measure 90. We measure 90 from the center. So 90 will pass there in the center. And we shall have this one now becoming our A second image with all the coordinates transformed. You can draw it conveniently. So this is now the triangle. Yeah, that is now the triangle, which is the second image. We are still continuing. Remember, I'm just guiding because my tools are not very conversant for use on the grid. But finally, we can talk about part D, which is requesting us to draw the third image, which is the image of the second one after reflection, y equals to 0. Then state coordinates. Okay, there is statement of coordinates in all of them, which means we would have listed the coordinates here. The second image, that is a negative 4, 4. Negative 4. Then B, second image, is going to be negative 3, negative 5. Then C, double, is going to be negative 1, negative 2. Yeah, that is those are the coordinates. Lastly, the mirror line is x equals to y equals to 0. This is x axis. Along the x axis, the values 0. Yeah, so along that axis, we're going now to just going to move every coordinate an equal distance to the other side of the mirror line. So from this point, I'm now to move. If it's A, I join A to the mirror line, then an equal distance on the other side. If A is 4 units below the mirror line, then it will be 4 units again on the other side. So that is where A goes. We go to B and C, whereby we join to the mirror line vertically, perpendicularly. Then we go up an equal distance. So B is going to be here. And finally, C, whereby we join C to the mirror line and we move the other side. Move to the other side. So C, third image is going to be there. Third image is going to be there. So we can now do the diagram to show us the triangle. So we join A and B, then to C. After reflecting through y equals to 0, which is the x-axis, now we are having the image up here. And we can state the coordinates. We can state the coordinates, whereby A is a negative 4, 4. A is negative 4, 4. So let me list them here. Negative 4, 4. B is going to be, when you look at B, that's negative 3, 5. Then when we go to C, the third image, C is going to be negative 1, 2. Negative 1, 2. Negative 1, 2. So that is now all the coordinates together with their images. We are done with all the transformations. We are done with all the transformations according to that question. So it's a very interesting question, number 21. How we can adjust to number 22, which is a question on a common solid volumes. Yeah, volumes and surface areas. Volumes and surface areas. Volumes and surface areas. A paper cup is made of, or is made in the shape of a frustum of a cone with an open top of diameter 10.5 centimeters and a sealed. That information is very key. The word sealed bottom of diameter 7 centimeters. If it has a depth of 12 centimeters, just as you can see, calculate part A, the total surface area. We can let this one be X. Yeah, it has already been let X. So we use similarities and enlargement. Similarities and enlargement. Welcome so much. Somebody is saying thank you. Welcome so much to continue learning with us. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you so much. Remember to invite a friend. You say this lesson is really going to help people, and it's good to invite all our friends. It's good to invite them. Let's see how to progress. So we can use similarities and enlargements for us to get the height, that is original height, and also the landing heights. So there is the original height, which is going to be both 12 and x added. Using similarities and enlargements, I will apply 10.5, which is the bigger diameter, divide by diameter of the cone which was cut off. It will give us the same ratio as the original height divide by the smaller height of the cone which was cut. That is according to similarities and enlargements, because the cone being cut off is the same as the original cone where this frustum was obtained. Cross multiplication will give us 10.5x equals to 84 plus 7x. This is going to be 3.5x when you subtract 7 equals to 84, and the value of x becomes automatically 24. When x is 24, then the capital height is going to be 12 plus 24, giving us 36 centimeters. So we have both the vertical heights. For us to calculate surface areas, we need the slanting heights. The first slanting height, L, the first slanting height. Remember, the vertical height here is 36. This is 36. So we shall use Pythagoras theorem. At the bases of the cone, the vertical height is usually perpendicular. So we will use half of the diameter to give us radius. This is 5.25, together with the height of 36 to give us the slanting height here. Original slanting height. The original slanting height. Therefore, L will be 5.25 squared plus 36 squared. Then we obtain the square root. And this is going to give us exactly 36.38. Centimeters. There is also the slanting height of the smaller cone. The slanting height of the smaller cone, this one. We can again apply Pythagoras theorem or simply use the similarities. So half of 7 is 3.5, which is our radius, and the smaller height here is 24. The height which was cut off is 24. Therefore, the smaller slanting edge is going to be 24 squared plus 3.5 squared. Then we obtain square root, and this is exactly giving us 24.25. Centimeters. Now, with all this, we can now go to the formula whereby we'll get the total surface area. Remember, the bottom is sealed, so there is a surface at the bottom of this frustum. There's a surface at the bottom. So now we're going to start with the curved surface. The curved surface area is usually given by pi RL. That is the surface area of a cone. But now we have to subtract the surface area of the smaller cone, which was cut off. Small letter L. So this can even be further factorized to give us a... Okay, let's substitute the way it is. Are we limited to any pi? No, but allow me use 22/7. So 22/7, radius 5.25 times a slanting edge 36.38. Then we will be subtracting 22/7 by a radius of 3.5 by a slanting edge of 24.25. Slanting edge of that. So this gives us the first surface as 600.27 minus the other one is 38.5, and this is going to give us this is going to minus minus 266.75. Sorry, the other one is 266.75. 266.75. This will give us exactly exactly 333.52. Then that is the curved. Now there is the bottom, whereby we've been told that it is sealed. So we use pi r squared, being circular, pi radius squared, and this is now 38.5. Therefore, the total surface area is going to be the curved plus 38.5. This is equivalent to, when we add now, we shall get 372.02 square centimeters. So that is the surface area, total surface area. In part B, the capacity of the cup to the nearest deciliter. We should know that we begin with volume, and volume will be given by a third pi r squared h, then minus a third pi r squared h, because this is a frustum of a cone. So we need to get volume of the original cone minus volume of the smaller cone, which was cut off, for us to get the our frustum. So at this point now, we can even substitute. At this point now, we substitute a third multiplied by pi radius 5.25 squared times a vertical height of 36, then minus a third pi r 3.5 squared multiplied by the vertical height of the smaller cone of 24. Let's compute this. So we start with a third. That is 1 times 22 multiplied by 5.25 times again 5.25 multiplied by 36. Then we divide by 21. This is going to give us 1039.5. Then minus, on the other side, again we start with a third multiplied by 22 multiplied by 3.5 squared. So 3.5 times 3.5 multiplied by 24. Then we divide by, and this gives us 308 cubic centimeters. So we have to take 1039.5 and we subtract 308. This gives us 731.5 cubic centimeters. Now we have to go to further instructions, which are telling us to find the capacity of the cup to the nearest deciliter. And we should know that 1 deciliter is equivalent to 100 cubic centimeters. Therefore, 731.5 cubic centimeters shall be 731.5 times 1 out of 100. This is going to be 7.315 deciliters. But there are further instructions again, to the nearest deciliter. which means we round it to the nearest whole number. This is going to exactly be 7 deciliters. 7 deciliters. 7 deciliters. So that is how we work it out. 7 deciliters. Just an approximation according to the instructions. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share. Our number is on the screen. We are adjusting now to scale drawings. Remember to purchase airtime from your M-Pesa to all networks. From your M-Pesa to all the networks. M-Pesa to all the networks. By going to your M-Pesa, Lipa na M-Pesa, then the paybill number is 737356. Account number is your own number, the number that you intend to purchase airtime for. Airtel number, Safaricom number, Telcom number. Then you proceed to add the amount that you'd like to spend. You complete your transaction and receive airtime instantly. Our online program, registration ongoing. Please bring on board your brothers and sisters. Bring on board your sons and daughters. Bring on board your nieces and nephews. Register your students. Refer a friend. Let parents know about this program. It shall be great. Success to the 2024 candidates. I know some of them are still following. And thank you so much. I appreciate even Keep Prop Chill. The people are contributing in the live broadcast together with Sharon Naliaga, Form 3. Thank you so much, teacher. God bless you. We have thanks for being with us in mathematics. That is a Kiprop Chir. Dennis Ombogo, great one, Mwalimu. Thank you so much, you guys, for following up. We can look at number 23. Number 23 is on scale drawings. In this one, again, I'm going to offer guidance because according to the tools required, I may not have conversant instruments with the screen, but I'll give the proper guidance. The scale diagram below shows the relative positions of the towns A and B, which are 80 kilometers apart. So they are 80 kilometers apart, and a diagram has been drawn to represent them, which means it is a scale diagram, which means a certain scale has already been chosen. A certain scale has already been chosen. And so the first part, determine the scale used in drawing the diagram in the form 1 equals to x. 1 centimeter represents how many kilometers on the ground. And hence state thank you so much. Sorry. And hence state the compass bearing of the point A from B. Due to lack of tools conversant for use on the board, I'm again advising you on how to progress. Let me start by the bearing of A from B. So from B, A from B, that means because we are talking of from B, then we need to do a compass at B. A from B. So we just need to identify this angle. Assuming it was 46 degrees, then the bearing of A from B, and we are talking about the compass bearing, then it will be north 46 degrees towards the east. That is the compass bearing. Otherwise, the bearing would still have been 0.46 degrees. This is the true bearing, whereby we don't indicate the distances, we just measure strictly from the north. So the bearing can be identified that way, but in case you get this paper and print out, you'll be able to measure exact figures. Now, the other thing we are going to identify is the centimeters drawn here. Assuming, for example, these are 8 centimeters, just assuming they are 8 centimeters, then our scale is going to be 8 centimeters are representing 80 kilometers. This is to mean 1 centimeter is representing 10 kilometers on paper. Now, if we are to write this scale now, according to the instruction, as a ratio, in other words, according to the instruction, as a ratio, it will be 1 centimeter. Remember, ratios are supposed to be having the same quantities. Now, instead of 1 centimeter to 10 kilometers, the 10 kilometers should be converted to centimeters by multiplying them by 100,000. Yeah. 1:1 million, which means 1 centimeter in the paper represents a million centimeters. A million centimeters on the ground. A million centimeters is equal to 10 kilometers. 10 kilometers. So that is the scale. And remember, I've not measured. I'm just giving a guidance. I've assumed if we print out this paper and we measure, and I gave you an example, assuming that we've measured and discovered from A to B, it is 8 centimeters, then it will mean that this is the scale used, 1 centimeter for 10 kilometers. But now we have to write it as a ratio, whereby the units are supposed to be the same. We cannot have ratios of 2 different units. So that is an instruction to be adhered to. It can be written as 1 centimeter represent 10 kilometers. But when converting to a ratio, it has to take the same units. Again, locate another town C on a bearing of 150 from A and 0.85 from B. We are given two bearings. Bearings measured from strictly the north. Bearings measured strictly from the north. So we are talking of 150 from A. So you stand at A and you just measure 150. Just measure 150 and you draw a line. Then again, a bearing of 0.85 from B. So 85 degrees from B. 85 from B. Then we consider the interaction of those two lines. 85 from B. 85 from B, sorry. I'm just trying to identify a sketchy angle of 85. Trying to sketch 85, something below 90. Slightly below 90. So assuming that we have measured 85, yeah, our angle of 85 like that. So the two are meeting at that point. Remember, we left 30 degrees there. So we can measure 30 degrees again at this point. 30 degrees there. And we say that this is our C. Yeah, that's our C. So that is what you will do to come up with the places. We have our point C now. It has already been done. And hence state the distance between B and C. The distance between B and C now, you measure it in centimeters, then you use the scale here, or otherwise, depending on what you will have in paper. Then you convert the distance and know that distance in kilometers. Remember, you can request for these papers and more using our number 0704 15 33 66. This number will really help you. We continue with interpreting now the instructions. We have a part C, which says locate and label surveillance post P. A surveillance post P, which is equidistant from the three towns. Equidistant from the three towns. The three towns. And hence use it to construct a ring road that passes through the three towns. We're supposed to know that points which are equidistant from given points are perpendicular. Actually, that instruction, though it was covered in even primary school, for us to come up with such a point, we have to use the knowledge on on the knowledge on locus, whereby if a point is equidistant from A and B, then it is along the perpendicular bisector of AB. It is along the perpendicular bisector of AB. Now, raising a perpendicular bisector to AB, that bisector will pass through the mid, a perpendicular bisector of AB, a perpendicular bisector of AB like that, points equidistant from A and B. Then again, for A and C, we do the same. For A and C, again, we do the same. We identify the perpendicular bisector of that line, perpendicular bisector of line AC, like that. You discover that the perpendicular bisectors are intersecting at a certain point. Now, that point is the one equidistant from all the points. It is the one equidistant from all of them, this point, and it's going to become our K. That's going to become our point K. Now, using point K, we need to do a circle now. We need to do a circle such that it will become our ring rod and it will pass through the 3 points. So we just do a circle touching the 3 points. A circle touching the 3 points. From that side, using proper instruments, you will do a very good circle. So I'm just giving a guidance for what you're supposed to come up with. This is a sketch. Don't judge my diagram. That is now the circle that you will be expected to have. And finally, you are taught to calculate the length of the ring rod. Now, the length of the ring rod means now circumference of the circle. Circumference of the circle of the ring rod, it will be given by 2 pi r. R, which must be measured from the diagram. So you measure R from the diagram and you convert it to kilometers, because this is a scale diagram to represent instructions on the ground. So you have to convert it to kilometers. After you measure it from the diagram, you convert to kilometers, then you apply the formula and you give us the length of the ring rod as the circumference of the circle obtained up there. Remember to subscribe to this platform. We are almost winding up. The last question is on differentiations. Again, on differentiations. This is where we'll be ending now. This is where we will be ending. Remember to subscribe. Remember to invite friends so that you may keep learning together. Thank you so much for being around. We're going to work with you until the Kcse is done. Even for the other classes, we are going to be together throughout the holiday. Remember to be a subscribed member of Shifting Grades. Number 24. The equation of a curve is given by x power 3 plus x squared minus x minus 1. Determine the gradient function of the curve. Gradient function is the derivative. When we derive this, we are supposed to have, we drop power 3 here, then x becomes now power 2. We drop power 2, then x becomes power 1. We drop power 1, and x becomes power 0, which has an equivalence of 1. Then the constant of the constant disappears. Part 2, we are also determining the stationary points of the curve together with their coordinates. Stationary points of the curve. For us to get a stationary point, we have to say that at the stationary points, which are also called the turning points of a curve, gradient is usually 0. At the stationary points, gradient equals to 0. gradient equals to 0. So we equate gradient function to 0, so that we say we need a product of 3 by negative 1 and a sum of 2, so that the two factors are 3 and negative 1. Now we have to write 3x squared plus 3x minus x, then minus 1 equals to 0. I'm solving the equation using the factorization method so that I may get the values of x at the turning points. So we factor out 3x to remain with x plus 1, then minus 1, we remain with x plus 1. This is equivalent to 0. From the brackets, x plus 1 equals to, equals to 0. And outside the brackets, 3x minus 1 is also equal to 0. So the values of x are going to be x equals to negative 1 using the first factor, and x equals to a third using the second factor. Now we are supposed to get coordinates. These are the values of x at the turning points. But now we can say the values of y at the same turning points when x is equivalent to negative 1. What will be the value of y? Now we take this particular point of x to the original equation here so that we may know the value of y when x equals to negative 1. And we substitute negative 1 there. The value of y will become 0. Using negative 1, the value of x will become 0. So the coordinate is negative 1, 0. That's a turning point or a stationary point. Again, we use the other coordinate of x, a third. So we substitute again a third in the original equation. When we substitute using a third, when x equals to a third, the value of y shall be negative 1 point. I'm going to use 2 decimal places, negative 1.19. So the turning point itself is a third, negative 1.19. That is the turning point, or rather the stationary point. So we have 2 stationary points, and there are other instructions in Roman 3. Find the nature of the stationary points. Find the nature of the turning points. They might be maximum points, minimum points, but we are supposed to determine the nature. So let's determine the nature, whereby I'm going to come up with some values of x before and after the turning point, so that we may use them to know whatever is happening with the turning points. Okay, maybe you use other mechanics or other mechanisms, but this is how I address it. Just follow my working. At this point, I'm saying we need some values of x, and we also need the value of the gradient at those points, so that we may see the behavior of the curve. A point at the turning point is x equals to negative 1. So when x equals to negative 1, the gradient is 0 because it's a turning point. But now after negative 1, we can identify a point like 0. At 0, what will be the value of gradient? Now we go to the gradient function and we substitute 0, and we'll get gradient. Then we talk of another point, a point like negative 2, to the right and to the left. So to the right of the turning point, we are having 0, but to the left of the turning point, we are having negative 2. So with negative 2 is the value of x, gradient at that point will have a value equivalent to 7. And from this, we can see clearly that the gradient is turning from being positive to being negative. So with that, we can conclude that a turning point -1, 0 is a maximum point. It's a maximum point. A maximum point. That one, we have the nature identified. The next one is the turning point, which is a third. So we're going to use a third to say that gradient at that point is 0. What about at a point just after the turning point of a third? To the right, in other words. To the right, we can use 1, whereby the gradient is going to be +4 when x is 1. And to the left, we can use a point like 0. What is the value of gradient at 0? -1. This is to mean that a gradient is changing from being negative is this way, through 0 to a positive gradient. So at a third, gradient changes from negative to positive, and this is a minimum point. So this one is a minimum point. We call it a minimum point. So those are the two turning points, and their nature has been determined. Find the y-intercept of the curve, Roman 4. At the y-intercept, we're supposed to know the values of x are usually 0. So we say that y equals to, we substitute 0 wherever there is x, because at the y-axis, x equals to 0. And that is going to give us exactly -1, because everything becomes 0 now. 0 power 3 plus 0 squared minus 0, then -1. So y is going to be -1. So y-intercept is -1. Now, the final equation is sketch the curve. Remember, our number is 07, 04, 15, 33, 66. This is the number that you're supposed to consult with. And that is the number that we're going to help you through. That is the number that you're going to register for the online class with. So these online classes require registration, and we are going to coordinate through that number on the wall. Please make sure that you follow up. Remember also to receive our success greetings. If you are a candidate this year, we trust in you. We know you've been equipped. We know you've been following up with these lessons together with other lessons elsewhere, and we hope that you are well equipped and you are equal to the task. All the best as you face the Kcse. Now, to sketch the curve, we are already having what is required. So allow me now do the y-axis and also the x-axis. And also the x-axis. The x-axis. Then at this point now, we can have 0, then 1, 2, 3. Then on the positive side of y, 1, 2, 3. On the negative side, you can have -1, -2, -3. Remember, we're just doing a sketch. We're not doing an actual diagram. It's not a scale diagram. -1, -2, -3. Yeah, then at this point now we can identify the main points. Main points include turning points. The first turning point is -1, 0. So this one is a turning point, -1, 0. Another turning point is a third, -1.2 to 2 decimal places. A third, -1.2. -1.2. Actually, the coordinate can even be written if it's decimals. We choose decimals throughout. with a given accuracy like a 0.33. So at 0.3 and negative 1.0.3 can be a point here at negative 1.2. So that is our other turning point, 0.3, negative 1.2. Then finally, the y-intercept. The y-intercept is a negative 1. So negative 1 is already identified. It's here. So we shall pass there. The nature of the turning points is what will guide us into the sketching. The nature of the turning points is what shall guide us into how we're going to plot. This is a maximum point. So the curve is turning this way. Then it will cut through negative 1, the y-axis at negative 1, and the turning point there is a minimum point. So we will have it turning this way. We'll have it turning that way. So that is the sketch of the curve. We utilize the turning points together with their nature. With their nature in mind, we must know how they are turning. Then we know where it should cut the vertical axis. This is the sketch. That is the section 2 of the whole paper. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share this lesson with friends. Remember to register for our online classes. Remember to purchase airtime through shifting grades for any network. The pay bill is 7373.56. Account number, your own number, the amount you intend to purchase. Then you enter the PIN and complete your transaction. Share with family and friends. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much.